Hey, and welcome to the Meditations and Musings podcast. I'm Elena Lipson. I'm a mama, I'm a wife, and I'm the founder of the Divine Self-Care Circle membership and the Virtual Retreat Academy. I don't believe that you have to sacrifice your body, your health, or your family in order to create true abundance and prosperity. I believe in living based on the divine feminine metrics of success, and these include pleasure, play, ease, grace, and a slower pace. Each week, I'll bring you 1 to 2 new episodes. One of these will be a guided meditation that you don't have to do on the meditation pillow, and the other will be a conversation to help you access your inner wisdom, to ignite abundance, and inspire others to do the same. I invite you to join me on this journey back to the magic of a divinely aligned and well cared for you. And now, join me for today's episode. Hello and welcome to the Meditations and Musings podcast. This is your creator and founder of the podcast, Elena Lipson. And today's episode is a really fun and really important one for all of you adults out there. So today we're talking about 5 reasons that play is crucial in your life, business, and your bedroom. I'm going to share with you 5 reasons plus a bonus reason that some of you may just choose as your leading reason to add play, but we'll get to that later. So first of all, if you've been listening to me for any amount of time, and if you listen to the intro to this podcast, then you know that play is one of my new metrics of success, one of the divine feminine metrics of success: pleasure, play, ease, grace, and a slower pace. So today we're going to focus on play, and I want to just invite you to kind of get present in whatever you're doing, whether you're walking or washing the dishes or driving in your car. I want you to kind of open up to possibilities that play might just be the solution to whatever stuck problem, limiting belief, or block you might be experiencing in different areas of your life, and I'll explain why. So when you were a kid, no one had to tell you that it was important to play. No one had to tell you how to play, when to play. You just knew that it was your job to play. Besides whatever chores that you had to do or whatever schoolwork you had to do, you knew that your number one job was to play. You didn't have to justify it. You didn't have to get permission. You didn't have to do anything other than just be a kid, be youthful, be creative. There were no rights or wrongs when you played a game, and sometimes you probably even created your own games. This is something that kids around the world have in common. Whether you're kicking a soccer ball in Africa or in Asia, or you're kicking a soccer ball in America or in South America, you know how to play. Whether you have gadgets or not, whether you have toys or not, you will find a way to play. Now, why is play so hardwired into children? Well, children are meant to grow and evolve and learn. And one of the best ways that nature embedded into children for learning is, guess what? Play, right? So you're getting the theme here. So if children are so good at it, then why do we grow up and forget how to do it? Now, I want you to just think for a moment. Is there anyone that you know, anyone in your life that is an adult and is playful? Like they're just someone who laughs easily, someone who has a hobby, maybe a series of hobbies, but most importantly, they're just like happy all the time, or at least a lot of the time. Maybe there's someone that you consider to be super creative, or someone that you want to spend time with because you feel good around them. Maybe they just seem to have this kind of inner light around them sometimes, right? And you're just not sure why, but now that you're thinking about it, maybe it does have something to do with how playful they are. Now, what I've seen with the adults that I've worked with the women that I've worked with and their husbands, is that, life can tend to get a little serious. And that's just by design. We are meant to have responsibility. We have bills to pay. We have kids to take care of. We have parents sometimes to take care of. We have our people around us who are depending on us. We have all kinds of responsibilities. And those responsibilities can make us a little, less playful. So, and rightly so. We can't play our way through life, right? Or can we? Maybe there's a way to find play embedded in the areas that you might least expect. And it doesn't have to be so formal. In fact, maybe there's a playful mindset that we can take on in the least expected areas, like even the bedroom, that can start to release some of the things that happen when we become adults. Like we get dull, we get boring, we get so serious, right? And honestly, rightly so. There's stuff that happens in life that really is meant to be taken seriously, but I'm suggesting and inviting you to consider that maybe, just maybe, even the most serious situation can use a little levity, a little humor. And maybe that little levity and that little humor is just the thing that's needed in that serious situation that can help us connect with each other, open the doors to new ways of seeing the situation, and perhaps even reduce the risk of the serious effects that stress can have on our bodies and in our lives. So I'm not saying that if you're a playful person, all of a sudden things don't go wrong or shit doesn't happen. That's all going to happen. But as you know, life is mostly what you make of it. It's how you react. It's how you process information. It's how you choose to move forward in a situation or choose not to move forward. So I want to share with you 5 reasons to embed play in your life, business, and the bedroom. And then I'll share some examples of how you can do that. And what I'm hoping is while I'm sharing this, that you are going to get some ideas for how to do this on your own. So in my life, most recently, I actually have a 12-year-old son currently when I'm recording this, and a husband. We've been together now for 18 years, married for 15 years. And I was just sharing the story yesterday of why I was so attracted to my husband. And during our first conversation, we actually met online 18 years ago. And our first conversation, it was like, I was so excited to meet him because I was literally laughing. We probably talked on the phone for like 2 hours on our first conversation before we ever met in person. And he had me laughing the entire time. I mean, literally like 90% of the time I was laughing. It's not that he was making jokes. It's that he was so playful, and he actually did, maybe he did tell a few jokes, but I don't know, there was something about the way he showed up, and he was kind of unattached. I mean, he definitely, I'm sure, wanted to meet me because I'm amazing, but I'm saying we had this great conversation because I was laughing, and in that laughing, all my nervousness went away. Didn't really matter what happened after that because I was having a great time just getting to know this human being. And when we met in person, it was even better. We definitely had chemistry. We had a great connection, and the laughter continued. We had like a 4-hour date. It was phenomenal. And now, 18 years later, he's still probably the person in my life who makes me laugh the most. And he's the one, thank goodness, who reminds me to not take it so seriously, to just have a good laugh, to watch something stupid, to not just be so serious all the time, because I think I definitely have a tendency to get serious because life can be serious. But what I have found, I think it was definitely divine intervention that I met him, is that I can definitely benefit from lightness and from play and from just getting present and shaking it off. So I've learned in my own life to embed playfulness and lightness as part of my self-care practices, right? So I'm the divine self-care mentor. If you know my world, this is what I teach. I teach self-care rituals and practices, and one of them for me is play. So in our family, we play Scrabble, we play cards. I always have a deck of cards in my bag. We just laugh a lot because it's so beautiful to be with people who you love laughing at the same thing. So let me dive right in. And I hope I've gotten you excited enough about play to where you can see that, you know what, maybe I should be more playful in my life, and not as a should, like I really should, but like, hey, this sounds like something that might benefit me and my family. So first I want to share with you the 5 reasons plus a bonus reason to add more play to your life, business, and the bedroom. And then I'm going to brainstorm some ways, additional ways beyond the ones I've already shared, that you can use to embed play in your life. So the first reason, and these are all scientifically proven, so if you're the type of person who just needs that validation, here's the first scientifically proven reason to play. First of all, it reduces stress, right? And stress is not all bad. Actually, stress can be positive. It can actually invite you to go deeper. It can invite you to work on something longer than you might have because you just really want to get it right. But there's also a not so good side to stress. And that's when you start experiencing physical symptoms of pain or high blood pressure. There's a litany of symptoms that people experience because of negative stress. So when you invite play, even in the middle of something that's not so good, you bring a lightness to it, a new perspective. But in your body, when you play and you laugh, you actually reduce stress. And we'll talk a little bit more about what play can look like. The second reason to play, scientifically proven, is that it benefits your social well-being. This is how we connect as people. There's been studies shown that when you are with a friend and they're experiencing pain, whether it's emotional or physical, you empathize with them and you feel it as well. When you're with a stranger and the stranger feels pain, you actually don't feel it as much because we don't empathize with strangers. But when you spend 15 minutes playing with that stranger, whether it's GarageBand or a card game or a board game, you actually are now connected to that person and you start to empathize with them even more. So you can see how play can be a really critical tool in today's politically divided environment. And we're divided in so many ways. What if more people spent more time playing together and felt more connected, empathetic, compassionate towards each other, right? You can hate someone from far away, but when they're standing in front of you and you have interacted with them and you've collaborated with them, they are now no longer a stranger that is faceless and nameless. And it's how you connect. Can you even imagine if we had like a worldwide game? Anyway, a girl can dream. Okay, so that's reason number 2. Reason number 3 to play is that it increases pleasure. And pleasure, is one of my metrics. But when something's pleasurable, guess what? You want to do more of it. So if you're having fun with someone and you're feeling your pleasure centers in your brain light up, you're going to want more connection, more time with those people that you adore. And in the bedroom, it helps you get more present, right? When you're playful in the bedroom, you can actually be present. I'm going to do a whole other episode on pleasure and being present in the bedroom and how it's so important to connection. But just know this, when you can be playful, when you can be light and not so serious in the bedroom, you actually increase your perception and reception of pleasure. You allow yourself to receive pleasure. And so what's the point of doing anything in the bedroom if it's not going to bring pleasure to you and your partner? Now, I'm talking about adults who are both consenting and both want what's happening in the bedroom. It's going to be a whole other conversation. I'll go deep into this, but increases pleasure. So when you're playing, it increases pleasure in your life, in your business, and the bedroom. So it's not so serious all the time. When it comes to your business, if you find ways to embed playfulness throughout your day, when you come back to your work, you will be a much more creative person. Because number 4, another reason to play is that it increases your creativity and your problem-solving ability. So often we are very linear with how we try to solve a problem. We just keep our head down, our pen to paper, and try to figure it out. And you've had that experience, I'm sure, just like I have. You're trying to figure something out or you're trying to remember something, and all of a sudden you go wash the dishes or you're playing something totally different or you're doing something totally different. Maybe you're in the shower or you're driving, and all of a sudden that solution, that thing you were trying to remember or solve, all of a sudden appears. And that happens when you walk away from the problem that you're trying to solve. So why not do this in an intentional way on a regular basis by embedding playfulness into your day? Whether it's going outside and going for a walk or calling a friend and laughing, or even putting on something funny on Netflix, right? Like watching America's Funniest Videos and laugh for an hour. I mean, give yourself permission to do that, because your diminishing returns happen when you keep pushing through a problem that is not solving itself in the moment. So step away, go have a good laugh, go play, and then come back. And play is going to look different for everyone. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Number 5 is improved brain function. So with all of the stresses and responsibilities, our brain can get overloaded. When your brain is overloaded, it processes less. It's less creative, right? So if you were to embed play as part of your strategy to keep your brain healthy, you would benefit in many, many ways. So there's a lot of research that proves that doing puzzles, playing strategy games, even just going outside and playing hopscotch or jump rope can increase the parts of your brain that actually are functioning in other areas of your life and your work. So when you play, it's almost like you're tuning your brain to be able to process more information in a different way, right? And intelligence is all about taking lots of information and putting it together and processing it in a way that makes sense to you. Your brain can't do that if it's overloaded with constant work and seriousness. So play is shown scientifically to improve brain function. And if you or anyone you know has been touched by anything like Alzheimer's or any memory functioning, then this is a really important element to really start doing as early as possible, to really treat games and playing and Scrabble and cards and puzzles, crossword puzzles, as a strategy to make sure that your brain is, as much as you can, I know you can't control everything, right? But if you're going to eat well and exercise and have great social connections, this is another thing you can do to help improve your brain function. Now, I have a bonus reason for you that might just strike some of you vain people out there, and I'm one of them. So here's the deal. Scientifically, when you play, you actually boost your youthfulness, your vitality. You get this youthful glow. I know you must have met someone who is actually maybe in their 60s or 70s or 80s, but looks and feels much younger. One of my favorite examples, there's two of them. One is a dancer and one is a yogi. And these two women are both in their 90s now, but they both started dance and yoga respectively in their late 80s. And they are phenomenal. Well, actually, one of them has been dancing for a long time, but the other one started doing yoga. Actually, I'm going to turn that around. The yogi's been doing yoga for a long time and she's now in her 90s, but the dancer, she didn't start dancing, ballroom dancing and salsa dancing, until she was in her late 80s. And both of these women, and I'll link it in the show notes, but both of these ladies are in their 90s now, and they are vibrant and enthusiastic and passionate about what they do. And they play, like they dance and they laugh, and they're just so joyful that you can't help but surpassing whatever age they are. It doesn't even matter, because their vitality and their youthfulness is practically glowing off of their skin. So if you want a way to stay youthful and vital, play more, whatever that means for you. Whether it's learning a new instrument, taking an art class, exploring new places with new eyes, or even just watching a funny movie, really give yourself permission to enjoy. The more you can tap into that playful spirit, the more youthfulness, the more vitality that you will experience. So before I wrap this episode up, I wanted to brainstorm a little bit with you, and I mentioned lots and lots of ways that you can play, but I want you to really ask yourself this question. Ask yourself, what kind of play would light me up? Would it be going to play golf? Would it be going to play, a game of toss the ball, football or baseball with a kid or a friend Would it be getting out the Scrabble game and putting it on the dining room table and just challenging your partner or your friend to a Scrabble game like I love to do? Although I get very competitive, it's pretty funny. Maybe just putting a pack of cards in your purse or in your car. The way I always have a pack of cards in my purse, so that my son and I, if we're sitting and waiting for a table, or if we just happen to be sitting somewhere, we can always break out into a game of cards, and it's so fun. When my son was growing up, I called it the magic restaurant bag. I always had some games in there and drawing supplies. And what if you just grabbed a pen and paper and started doodling for no other reason than you just enjoy it, right? So I want you to really invite yourself to start considering this. What would my life feel like if I was more playful? Like, when was the last time you had a really good belly laugh? And what parts of your life are you taking so seriously that you've forgotten how to play? It could be in life, it could be in your business, it could be in the bedroom, but all those areas are going to benefit from you deciding that, you know what? I really do want to be more playful. So what does that look like? And you don't have to commit to anything right in this very moment unless you're very clear on what that is. But I would just get curious, asking yourself, I wonder how I can be more playful. And if you have any kids around, ask them. They'll tell you in a heartbeat how you can be more playful. But you have to really consider what they say, because those kids are pretty smart. It could just be a matter of going out and playing a game with them out in the field, or, going out and playing whatever, football or baseball or, whatever. Just don't limit yourself. Really get playful with it. It could just be playing board games. It could be playing Chutes and Ladders with a young kid you have around you. It could be learning how to play a new card game and then inviting a friend to play. It could be some board game night that you invite friends over to. Just let yourself laugh, play charades. Just allow yourself to go maybe do some improv where you are challenging yourself, but you're also laughing. You're just breaking that cycle of being so serious. So I'll tell you what, the world is serious enough without adding more serious people to it. In fact, I would say that the world needs more people who are playful and curious and socially connected to others and not so stressed out. So I would say one of the top things you can do to be more playful is, unplug. Make some mindful unplug times where you are not just reading the news and reading the next headline, but you are actually tapping in to that part of yourself that remembers what it's like to laugh with joy, remembers what it's like to just lay on the grass, look up at the clouds, and pretend that it's a dolphin or a monster or a cookie, right? Remember those days where you just laid on the grass and watched the clouds go by? That's the spirit of today's musing, is I wonder, how can I be more playful? And then notice, this is the key, begin to notice how life begins to shift around you. Are you enjoying your days more? Are you looking forward to meeting with people more? Are you feeling the anticipation of gathering and just having a good time? And if you don't have anyone around you that's doing it that you can tap into, you start it yourself. Again, you can start a board game night. You can go and, ask a friend to go play putt-putt golf, whatever. It doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. Just the intention alone, or maybe even grabbing a few friends and saying, hey, I'd love to just play on a regular basis. What do you think? And start that conversation. I guarantee you that you are going to enjoy life a whole heck of a lot more when you are playful, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the seriousness of life going on around us at all times. There's always, always, always an opportunity to take a deep breath, have a good laugh, have a good orgasm, and enjoy life that much more. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I hope it inspired you to start thinking about play as a strategy for more joy. If you like this episode and you know some people who can benefit from thinking about play, or even if there are people that you want to play with, go ahead and forward the episode on to them, share it with them in your social media channels. And if you loved it, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a review and let me know what you think of this episode and any other episodes that I've done. And if there's something specific, you have a question for me, please go ahead and leave that as well. Thank you so much for being here today. This is Elena Lipson, your divine self-care mentor and host of the MUSING Meditations. See, got to get playful. Host of the Meditations and Musings podcast. Thanks so much for being here today, and I'll see you next week for a new episode. Thank you so much for listening and learning about the new divine self-care way of being in your life, business, and the bedroom based on the divine feminine metrics of success: pleasure, play, ease, grace, and a slower pace. If you're ready to bust the myth of overwhelm and tap into an inspired start to each day, I've put together a free video series for you to help you start each day with energy, inspiration, and ignite that inner pilot light which attracts joy, magic, and synchronicity. You can access my 3-step magic morning practice to help you ignite your inner light and attract the abundance that you're craving. Head on over to elenalipson.com/gift. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would so love if you share it with a friend, a sister, a mother, a daughter, and please leave a review. That is how the magic starts to ripple out. Here's wishing you a day full of beauty, magic, and divine self-care. I'll see you next time at the Meditations and Musings podcast.